To isolate a subject from the background or knock them out, and you're starting with a solid layer, the first thing you need to do is change that from a background to a layer by double-clicking. Double-click right on the word, and it'll say, do you want to create a new layer? You don't have to name it. You can just say OK, and now you'll see that the background is now a layer. In order to create a non-destructive isolation, I'm going to apply a vector mask to the layer mask, by clicking once, and you see now we have this white rectangle, which is the vector mask. Anything that's white will be solid. Anything that we paint black on this will be masked and will see transparency through it, which will show up as a checkerboard. You want to make sure that you're not selecting the image, because if I paint on the image, I'll paint on the image. I want to paint on the mask. And I want to paint with the brush. I just hit the letter B, and I can adjust the size of the brush by right-clicking and getting that information, or I can use the left or right brackets to increase the size of the brush. If I hit the letter D, that will give me my default colors. Zoom out here. D, which is white in the front, black in the back. X will exchange those two colors. And what I want to do is paint black on the picture, on the mask, to isolate the subject. You can see how the black shows up here, and you see the transparency over here. Fastest way to get a selection is perhaps to use one of the selection tools. I could use the Quick Selection tool or the Magic Wand tool. The Magic Wand is very useful if you have large areas of similar colors, like a sky or a wall. The Quick Selection tool looks for contrast, so in this case I'd want to use the Quick Selection tool to click and drag over my subject where there's a lot of contrast. Thinking. And I want to fill this selection area with black. So I'm going to exchange my colors by hitting the letter X, so black is in the background. Now if I hit the delete key, making sure again that I'm on the mask, it will fill that area with white. Oops, I wanted to do just the opposite, right? So I'm going to Command Z, and I'm going to go to my selection options and say select inverse. So now everything but my subject is selected. Now I'll hit delete, and that's taken care of. With these small areas that didn't work, I can then go back in with the brush and paint white where I want that. I have to deselect, Command D. I can paint white to bring these areas back. So between the paintbrush, using the paintbrush, going back and forth between black and white, you can create a more complicated selection. So that is how you create an isolation effect for your image.